بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. By nature, man is a social being in the sense that he cannot live alone. He needs to live within a community, within a society. And that is why he needs people as people need him. He needs to have friends. He needs to have associates that would help him when he is in need. And if you listen to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ regarding the companionship, there is a very beautiful hadith. And all the hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ are indeed beautiful. Because he tells us about himself, I was given the concise of speech. أوتيت جوامع الكلم صلى الله عليه وسلم. And that is why one word or two words of the Prophet ﷺ, you need volumes to explain because of the knowledge contained in these two words. One of the fiqhi rules is لا ضرر ولا ضرار. That's it. The Prophet said, لا ضرر ولا ضرار. Do not do something that is harmful for others, yet do not accept something that is harmful for you. And you can cascade this fiqhi rule on all chapters of the fiqh, whether it's in purity, whether it's in transactions, whether it's in marriage. Two words the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam. So listen to this hadith with your heart and not with your ears, because it is coming from the Prophet ﷺ, who does not say except the truth, and who does not teach us except what is beneficial for us, not only in the hereafter, but also in this life. The Prophet says ﷺ, the likeness of a righteous companion is that of the seller of musk. Either he will give you a gift, or you will buy something from him, or you will smell a pleasant fragrance from him. And the likeness of an evil companion is that of the man who works the bellows. Either he will burn your garment, or you will smell an unpleasant odor from him. Now this hadith is, you all know it, right? Correct? Okay. We will just go briefly into it. The Prophet ﷺ told us about the good companion of having three choices or possibilities. The evil companion has only two. So the first quality or choice that you can get out of a good companion is that he may give you. A person that sells perfumes, he may give you a gift. Or you may buy from him. No favors from him. You're paying for it. Or the least you could get is the beautiful fragrance, the beautiful smell. Three things. If you want to look at a good companion, and this is essential because the benefit of tonight's lecture is that I scrutinize, I audit my list of companions. Get your mobile phone, don't turn it on, keep it off. And look into your contact. And start saying, good companion, evil companion, kamsi kamsa, half-half. I am not, there isn't half-half. Huh? He's either good or evil. So this is what we would like to get as a result from today's or tonight's lecture. So let's start. The Prophet says, alayhi salatu wasalam, a good companion either gives you. And what is meant by giving you? Meaning that he will directly advise you. Advise me of what? Of good things. Of things that benefit me in this life or gets me closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. So a good companion always constantly advising you. Akhi, you have to do this. You shouldn't do that. He's a good companion. He loves you. He doesn't want you to go to hell. He doesn't want to see that. So he tries his level best to prevent you. If your best friend is going to drink a glass that contains poison. What will you do? I'll sit back and laugh. I'm going to see him in pain. No, you're going to say, Akhi, this is poison. I've seen poison in it. He says, it's none of your business. I want to drink it. Well, khalas, it's not my business. The hell with him. Would you do this? You will prevent him. You will stop him. If he fights you and he tells you, no, I will drink it, what will you do? You'll fight him back. And even if I have to beat him up so that I prevent him from doing that is wrong, that would be killing him. Likewise, a good companion would stop you from sinning. Although you don't like this, you don't like people coming and advising you, Akhi, this is haram. Even if it's your best friend, you find it difficult, you may accept it. You know, the funny thing is, if your best friend, who's your best friend? Muhammad, Abdullah, Ali. Who's my best friend? My wife. That is why Allah Azza wa Jal described the wife in the Quran, وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ. What's the meaning of صاحبة? A girlfriend. Allah Azza wa Jal wants us to take girlfriends. No, you have to know Arabic, Don't jump the gun. صاحبته means his wife, because the closest friend to you is your wife. Subhanallah, the worst advice that comes to me is from my wife. If I do something and my wife tells me, you shouldn't have done this, Allahu Akbar, I start to grow horns and I become devilish. Why? Because this is human nature. Men usually don't like to take advice from someone they think might be below them. So, this is a good companion. He would give you free of charge. Or you may buy from him, meaning he may not be as good to advise you directly, but he is so good that you learn from him by just looking at him, by just listening to him, without him coming to you directly. Like Al-Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, may Allah have mercy on his soul. His companions used to say that whenever he had a dars in the masjid, thousands of people used to attend. 500 of them used to only scribe and write the hadith. So whatever he says from knowledge, they're writing it down. They are students of knowledge. The rest of the people in the 1,000 are not learning except from the way he behaves, the way he talks, the way he acts. So this is the second type. He's not advising you directly, but you are learning from him through his character. How many friends do we have like this? A lot. I know a lot. I know a lot of the brothers that I know personally. MashaAllah. I'll tell you an example. I was in a trip with one of the brothers, a group of da'is. A trip that is, we were engaged in a conference. Don't think that Sheikh goes for a trip of that kind. No. I was in a conference, so I was invited with a group of da'is. And one of us, MashaAllah, he was so keen on the first row and on attaining the first takbir that he made me ashamed. We all pray in the masjid, alhamdulillah. We never miss salah. But this brother was so particular. He says, I would never ever let one prayer time comes except I'm in the first row behind the imam. This is something I cannot compromise. And I started thinking of myself, subhanallah, I preach people and I tell people, but I'm not as keen as he is. Yahi, I am telling people you have to try your best to come in the first row and attain the first takbir. And I'm not doing it. Wallahi, shame on me. Since that day, I am trying my level best to be behind the imam in the first row and not miss one takbir. Why? Because Allah Azza wa Jal guided me through this, whom I bought the musk from. He didn't give me. I bought it from. He never told me, Sheikh Asim, why are you in the second row, in the 10th row? Why do you come late for the first rak'ah? No. But I learned from him. So this is the second choice of a companion. Or the least you can get of a good companion is a good fragrance, a good smell. Now, how could my companion give me a good smell and a good fragrance? I'm not learning from him, and he's not teaching me. But when someone asks about me, well, you know, Brother Asim, he proposed to my sister, to my daughter. What do you know about him? Wallahi, I know that he's a friend of Sheikh so-and-so. Oh, he's a friend of the Sheikh. Khalas, he's good. This is a good fragrance. Why? Because if I want to evaluate you, I will look into your contact list. Let's see. Who is your contact list? Brother Abdullah, give me your mobile. Contact list. Lina, Jeanette, Susan. Astaghfirullah. Sheikh Abdullah, where is this? So, it's for work. It's all work. Yeah, it's business, huh? MashaAllah. Khalas. I wash my hands with Dettol 7 times and once with soil. This brother is not good anymore. So, by the people you go with, I can judge you. Because, and some people say, Akhi, you don't have the right to judge me. I have bad friends, but I am good inside. And I will fix them one day. This is, with all due respect, nonsense. If you have a box of rotten apples, and you bring the healthiest and the freshest apple in the world, and you put it inside, what will happen? The whole box, mashallah, definitely the good apple would rot. This is human nature. So, this is what a good companion does to you. And look at good companions. Now, a lot of you here were brought by a good companion. A brother told you, Ya akhi, there is this old Sheikh from Saudi, he's Wahhabi, he's extremist, he's fundamentalist, but he cracks a joke every now and then. But he doesn't have anything. But ya akhi, instead of sitting at home, let's go and listen to him. Yeah, let's go. Now, this companion of yours is a good companion. Because a good companion takes you to places that draw you closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. A good companion would go with you in a beneficial visit. Not necessarily a circle of knowledge. Let's go and visit our brother so-and-so, he's ill. Let's take some reward by visiting him. Let's go to a book fair and buy some useful books. I need a book of tafsir, I need a book of this, I need a book on physics. Something useful, something you learn. A good brother, a good companion tells you, Akhi, next week is, for example, a vacation or so. Let's go and take Umrah. What about performing Hajj this year? This is a good brother. He says, Wallahi, Akhi, I need a good companion. Let's go for Hajj. I don't feel like it. No, let's go for Hajj. He's encouraging you until you say, Yalla, let's go for Hajj. That is a good companion who is drawing you closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. And the least you benefit from a good companion, if he did not deter you from evil, he does. If you want to smoke, Akhi, smoking is haram. Come on, you know I don't like smoking. Tuck it in. So you don't smoke. If you look at a beautiful woman passing by, he wouldn't say, no, he would tell you, Akhi, lower your gaze, haram. Allah is watching. This is not the right thing to do. So he would deter you from doing haram. The least he could do, even if you don't want all of this, if you're not present and someone says, Ya Akhi, this friend of yours, he's fat, he's short, he's ugly, he's stingy, he is bad character, he does this and that. He would not stay silent. He would interfere and say, shut up. He's my friend. Fear Allah. This is backbiting. This is not permissible. He would defend you. He would protect you when you are not present. This is what I qualify as a good companion who loves you not because of your wealth, not because of your wasita. You know wasita? We have a problem in Saudi with wasita. We call it vitamin wow. Wasita, nepotism, I think they call it. It is when, not what you know, it is who you know. And it is killing the Arab world because it's destroying everything. No rules, no regulations, it's what you know. No, a good companion knows you not because you can take him places. He loves you for the sake of Allah. Because you draw him and he draws you closer to Allah Azza wa Jalla. And I pray that all our companions would be like this. Now, friends, they say, a friend in need is a friend in deed. A friend in need. So your friend is the one who you need him when you want him to be there. And this is actually true, because when I'm happy or when I'm sad, I always call my friend. And I say, Akhi, wallahi, this good thing happened to me. Or, Akhi, wallahi, this bad thing happened, and I need your condolences, I need your sympathy, or I need your encouragement. So a good friend is the one I always call whenever I have good things or bad things to say. That is why even in hell, what are the people in hell are look for? Good companions. Even in hell. Allah Azza wa Jal tells us in Surah Al-Shu'ara, now we have no intercessors nor a close friend to help us. This is what the people of hell are complaining. We don't have any intercessors and we don't have any close friend. Meaning that even in hell, we would like anyone to help us. And those who are close friends can help us, but we don't have them in hell. On the day of judgment, the Prophet tells us ﷺ, that all humans would be standing in an open plaza. And the sun draws closer to them until it is as close as of a mile. Whether a mile is 1.6 kilometers or the mile which women use to put their mascara on their eyelashes. It's called a mil as well. And people sweat. They're standing in that horrific place and time. Yawmun azim. A horrible day. And people sweat and they are naked. No clothes. And they are barefooted. No shoes. And they are uncircumcised. Mother Aisha says to the Prophet ﷺ, Prophet of Allah, women and men, they're all naked. And the Prophet ﷺ tells her, Ya Aisha, the people are so terrified, they don't have time to look left and right. It's like when a bombshell, when a beautiful woman passes by and there is this 18-wheeler coming to run you over. Nobody will say, MashaAllah. You cannot see anything except this that is inevitably going to hit you. And likewise on the day of resurrection, on the day of judgment. On that day, Allah Azza wa Jal tells us, friends on that day will be foes. They will become enemies. Those friends you have in your contact list will become your enemies on the day of judgment, one to another, except the pious, except al-muttaqoon, those whose bond was for the sake of Allah. I have friends, good friends. If Allah admits me to enter Jannah, they will not be my enemies, they will be my closest friends, because we thrived on good things and we strived to attain Allah's pleasure. So definitely we will not be enemies, but those others will be enemies. Who are they? They are the people or the one who use the bellows. You know the bellows? It is what people, blacksmith or someone who works with fire, he needs someone to blow this so that the coal is live and it's hot and the fire is alive. Now, if you go to such a place, how do you think your clothes going to be? It's going to smell bad. That is, if you don't get any sparks from the furnace or from that place and burns your clothes. So the Prophet is telling us, alayhi salatu wasalam, two things. Either he will burn your clothes or you will find a bad odor. There is no third. So there is no benefit from an evil companion. No benefit at all. He will burn your clothes. Meaning you're going to be sinful on the day of judgment because of him. And if not, if you say, well, I have bad companions, I have evil companions, friends, but I don't take anything negative from them. Akhi, the worst or the least worst thing that could happen is your reputation will be tarnished. Imagine a woman, a decent woman, a student of knowledge, wearing full niqab, wearing gloves, and she goes out with a prostitute. How would the prostitute look? Definitely unlike her. And she says, I'm just, we're friends, we're relatives. And they go out shopping and they come from shopping and she doesn't do anything to her. How would people think of that decent woman in her hijab and niqab? What will they say? They will say, what is the English saying? Birds of feather flock together. Isn't it? So they have to be like this. It's a must. I cannot, imagine Sheikh Assim has a best friend of his and he's a pop star. Yeah, he's my friend. But alhamdulillah, I go to the masjid, he goes to the theater. It's okay. So my best friend is Justin Bieber. Well, can it be? Is it possible? It cannot be. So good people have to stick with good people, bad people have to stick with bad people, and look at the impact of an evil companion. I ask you, who was it that made a drug addict by himself? Wasn't there someone who gave him and try it? Look at anyone who smokes. Who was the first one who gave him a cigarette and said, give it a try, it's good, be a man, come on? And so, Wallah, I have to be a man. And look at him now. Who was the first one to encourage a sister to take the veil off? Come on, you're beautiful. Sister, you are charming, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful. And you have to give zakat of this beauty. So show your beauty. This is zakat. Well, by the way, this is in Arabia, this is what they say. They say to the beautiful women, the evil women, say to the beautiful women, you have to give zakat. You have to show and share this blessing of Allah Azza wa Jal. Who was it? The first is your evil companion. And now you go back in history. The evil things that you have done in your past. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows about it. And may Allah forgive all of our sins, previous and coming. If you look, you will find always a picture. Some mobiles, when someone calls, his picture pops up. If you remember these sins, always you'll find the picture of the one who taught you how to do it. Who was the first one to travel with you to a foreign country for the vacation? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, vacation. You just have to recreation. Who was the first one to take you to a nightclub, to a bar? Who was the first one to give you a cigarette or to try drugs? Who was the first one who gave you a DVD? My age, you have U-matic. This is the oldest video cassette, this big. Now then VHS, then Betamax, then the small ones, and now it's DVDs. Now it's USBs. It's a small card. Put 3, 4 movies on, and nobody knows. The kid comes from home. Assalamu alaikum abi, assalamu alaikum mama. They go and work in the computer. MashaAllah, my son is so good at school. Look, he's spending his time on the computer for 8 hours a day. Not knowing what's happening there. So, who was it, the first to do this? It's your evil companion. It is the shaitan. Our souls, by nature, are weak. Are we strong or weak? Wallahi, we are weak. We are so vulnerable. No, Sheikh, I'm strong. I bench press 100 kilograms. Yes, physically you're strong. Even the strongest man, one small virus, it gives him a sore throat and a running nose and fever, and he's on the bed. Small virus, this big. A mosquito. My son-in-law last week got a mosquito bite. He's 23 years old. And he was in hospital for a whole week because of a mosquito in Saudi Arabia. And he had what they call the dunk. Even mosquitoes play basketball. It was the dunk fever. So one simple mosquito, look what made this strong man happen. Man is weak. Our souls are weaker. And we change in a very rapid manner. We can easily change. In Arabic, we have a saying. Those who know Arabic, as-sahib, sahib. Sahib means to pull. So as-sahib, the companion, always pulls your legs. He will always pull you. If he's good, he will, by fact, will pull you to his goodness. And if he's evil, he will pull you to his evil. And this is logical. How many times in the salat, when you are in the midst of your prayer and concentration, the one next to you yawns, and immediately it picks for the whole row. Everybody's to the whole of the masjid. What is this? They're affected by the first one who started yawning. Not only that, if you're in a room and someone starts to laugh hysterically, what will you do? I just said laugh hysterically, everybody's smiling. I didn't even laugh. People by nature, they are affected by the surroundings. If someone is depressed and comes into the house or to the office and he's depressed and he's going to die, what will happen to you? You will feel blue. You will feel sad. You will feel depressed yourself. If you bring a good and beautiful and fresh rose and plant it next to bad weed, what will happen to it? It will die. If you have a fresh source of water, fresh water, a pond, for example, and there's a corpse that died, an animal, a donkey or whatever, and it's rotten next to it, what will happen to the water? It's not in it. It's away, but it's close to it. Even the smell and the taste of water will change. So how about our personalities? How about our souls? It is easily affected by the surroundings. And that is why the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, man will be on the path of his close friends. Al-mar'u ala dini khalilih. Man will be on the path of his close friends. Therefore, pay attention to who you make friends with. This is what the Prophet said, alayhi. Pay attention. This is extremely important. Now, if you look at the friends of the Prophet ﷺ, who were they? Subhanallah. The closest one is Abu Bakr. And look at their level in paradise. They're so close. So the closest in this life are the closest in paradise. Allah Azza wa Jal ordered His Messenger ﷺ, the least to change. The Prophet definitely is the least to change. Or are we lesser than him? Yeah, can we say, no, ya akhi, Prophet ﷺ, he can change easily. That is why Allah ordered him to be with good people. We? Us? No, ya akhi. We are, mashallah, like mountains. We do not change. Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, and keep yourself patiently. Surah Al-Kahf, every one of you reads it on Friday. This is in Surah Al-Kahf. And keep yourself patiently with those who call on their Lord morning and afternoon. This is addressed to the Prophet, alayhi salam. Seeking His face, those who remember Allah, what do they want? Money? They want fame? They're doing this for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. And let not your eyes overlook them, desiring the pomp and glitter of the life of this world, and obey not him whose heart we have made heedless of our remembrance, one who follows his own lusts and desires, one whose affair deeds has or have been lost. This instruction is to whom? To the Prophet ﷺ. Get your contact list. And you will find all of these don'ts applied to your friends. When was this revealed? Some of the scholars say that this was revealed as Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, may Allah be pleased with him, one of the 10 heavenly bound, was among 6 or 7 of his companions, of the poor companions. Sa'd wasn't poor, but he was not as rich. And he had with him Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, a shepherd. He had Khabbab ibn Arat, Suhaib al-Rumi, all the slaves, and they were the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. But there were dignitaries from tribes coming to listen to the Prophet ﷺ, of the pagans. So they said, take these out. Take these people out so that we can talk to you freely. Don't let these people who are not in our social status, who do not wear designers' clothes, who do not ride fancy cars, take them away. We will talk to you. And the Prophet felt that, let me measure the pros and cons. These are my companions, and I know that they love me and love Islam, and nothing will happen to them. But these pagans, if I manage to guide them to Islam, their tribes will follow. So, yes, it might be like this. Allah told him, do not. Even if you think that the pros are far greater, stick with those who remember Allah Azza wa Jalla in the morning and the evening for His sake. And don't overlook them. And this is a lot of the time, this is what happens in schools. Who do you pick when you were in high school or in intermediate school, whatever? Who do you pick as a friend? The most handsome, the strongest, the funniest. When you're in university, who's the friend that you want to hang out with? The mutawwi'? No. You hang out with the one who has the fanciest car, the sports car, the one who knows more girls, or the one whose jokes are from the belt down. You cannot say jokes from the belt up. This is not decent. Nobody will listen to him. So, who do you want to be associated with? See, this is the way of making yourself, forcing yourself to be with the good people. Now look at Abu Bakr. May Allah be pleased with him. You know this is a good companion or an evil companion? Because of his goodness, 6 of the 10 heaven-bound embrace Islam on his hands. Imagine everything they have done in their lives is in his scales on the Day of Judgment. And that is why some scholars say whenever you want to teach your 6 or 5 years old child the Quran, or to teach him how to pray, make sure that you are the one who teaches him how to recite the Fatiha. Why? Because from the minute he remembers the Fatiha and recites it until he dies, every time it goes to your good deeds. So don't let it be for the school teacher. And don't let it be for his mother. You do it. You want a reward. So you teach people. Abu Bakr, look at his companions. Umar radiallahu anhu, whenever he used to see Abu Bakr and Bilal, he used to say, this is Sayyidina, alladhi a'taqa Sayyidina. Abu Bakr is our master. He is our superior, who has freed our superior. Who is Umar's superior? Bilal ibn Abi Rabah, the Abyssinian slave. Look at when this original Arab, when this tribesman talks about an Abyssinian slave to be a Sayyid. And who did Abu Bakr free among the slaves? You count and you will not end. He devoted all of his wealth for freeing slaves and for supporting the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now look on the other hand to Abu Jahl. Abu Jahl was the one who prevented the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ from accepting Islam on his dying bed. The Prophet came to him. He said, "Oh my uncle, say La ilaha illallah. I will intercede on the Day of Judgment with it." And Abu Jahl is next to him on the other side of the bed. And he says, "Abu Talib, you want to neglect the religion of your father, Abdul Muttalib, and his grandfather?" And Abu Talib was so confused at the end. Allah Azza wa Jal willed it, and he chose to die as a mushrik. Because of Abu Jahl. Ya akhi, on your dying bed, how many people would come to you and give you the good nasiha, La ilaha illallah? And how many evil companions would say, Wallah, yesterday I saw a movie. You're going to die if you don't see it. Yeah, he's dying now. He is dying now. He said, no, but this movie would literally kill you. You have to see it. Subhanallah. I am shocked by how people's life ends. Isn't it stupid for a Muslim country when you visit someone who is on his dying bed in hospital and you find this big TV screen and beautiful women dancing and singing, and this is the last thing he sees? Yeah, instead of putting Quran, instead of putting Jannah, instead of putting La ilaha illallah, look what they bring to people who are in desperate need for cure. Yeah, when I'm sick, what do? I ask Allah, oh Allah, this is the last time. Just save my neck. And instead of doing this, I have these movies in front of me. The Prophet tells us, alayhi salatu wasalam, and this is the value of good companionship, that Allah sends the angels, and the angels roam the earth, and they come like this gathering of ours, and they go back to Allah, and they tell Allah Azza wa Jal that we have seen your servants in this particular place, and they're making dhikr, like we are doing now. So Allah Azza wa Jal tells them, I make you my witness. I have forgiven them. All of us. So one angel says, oh Allah, there is this individual who did not come for the lecture. He came because he wanted to meet a friend, or he needed a loan, or he wanted a job, or he needed a recommendation. He didn't come for the lecture. He didn't come for the dhikr. What does Allah Azza wa Jal, the most merciful, the most forgiving? Wallahi, if you know Allah, you love Him. Wallahi, if you see what Allah does to you, you have no other choice but loving Him, worshipping Him, do whatever pleases Him, because you know that He is the one who will take you to paradise. This is a transition in life. We're dead. Our countdown has begun. What does Allah Azza wa Jal say? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, they were all in the gathering, and none of them will be excluded from my forgiveness. As long as they're all in the gathering, regardless of your intention, all of them will not be excluded. None of them will be excluded from my forgiveness. So even that who came for a loan or for a recommendation, Allah would forgive his sins. So the good companionship is extremely essential. And the most people that you care about is your wife and your children. Oh, you believe, protect your families and yourselves from hellfire, that the fuel of this hellfire is stones and people. So you should protect your wife, and you should scrutinize whom she goes out with. And also do this for your children. And some say, Akhi, I'd like to give my children the freedom of choice. This is good. But if you know that he made the wrong decision, what would you do? You definitely have to correct him. Otherwise you say, no, let him bear the consequences and he will learn from that. No, this is not the right thing to do. When our children are young, it is easy for us to guide them. When they are old, it becomes difficult because they have their own choices. And that is why it is essential for us to provide for our children a safe haven, a good Islamic environment. So if I take my son from a very early age to tahfidh al-Quran, and he's in the tahfidh 5 or 6 days a week, 2 hours or 3 hours, when they go to play football, they all go with their instructor or instructors, and it's an Islamic environment. There will be a bad apple here or there, but eventually they will affect that bad apple, and they will correct it. And the son or the daughter grows in such an environment, they can select good friends because they have a good environment. But if a son or a daughter grows in an environment that you and I know how corrupt it is. Nowadays, who's your son's best friend? Give me choices. Give me answers. And I'll listen. Huh? Who's your son? I don't have sons, Sheikh. Okay, I know. You know. You're not married yet, but inshallah you will be. Who do you think your son's best friend is? Huh? The mobile? Did I hear it right? Yes, sometimes mobile. You find my children, they take this BlackBerry and what is this? As if they spend more time with it than they spend with me. mobile maybe. I believe my son and your son's best friend is the TV set, because they spend so much in front of it, and it's a one-way communication. When you see something on Spacetoon or in NBC3 or in whatever, all these corrupt cartoon stations, is it, can you comment? Would you say, no, this is haram, don't do this, Lone Ranger or whatever? No, he just takes in like a sponge. And this is the worst way of companionship, because TV sets, internet, mobiles, they are sources of evil if used in evil. And the majority use it in evil, and may Allah Azza wa Jal have mercy on us all. So you have to, as a parent, take care of your child and try to give him a good environment. Some of the fathers, the parents, bring their children to the righteous, to the imams and to the good teachers, and say, take my child and here's money, but give him a good environment. And when you ask him, why are you saying this? He said, because I lost my first child. My first son is lost. Now he's all the time out of the house. He smokes, he does bad things. He comes only at 12 midnight or 1 a.m. So I don't want to lose my second child. So here's money, just give him a good environment. You don't need money. There are places where you can safely take your children and give them the good companionship. So, in a nutshell, scrutinize your contact list and see who is a good companion and who is an evil one, and cross the evil ones. Don't think that you will be, inshallah, able to change them. Because usually, if you go, and I remember this, one of the brothers, he's a da'i, imam, and he tells me that when I was in my teens, like 17, 18, I used to go to a close group of friends, like 7 or 6 of them, and we used to stay from Asr until close to 9 or 10 o'clock. And we used to play cards. They used to have this passion on playing cards, no gambling, but killing time. The poor time did a crime and has to be executed. So they're killing the time. And he says, whenever Maghrib prayer was due, I used to stop and I say, okay, let's go and pray Maghrib in the masjid. What would the companions say? Yallah, Bismillah? No. They would say, MashaAllah, Tabarakallah, Sheikh, Mufti, Grand Mufti, make dua for us. And he says, I used to look down in shame and go pray and come back. The minute I enter and they're still playing, they did not pray. He said, did you see the angels? Did Allah forgive you? Yeah, Sheikh, ask Allah Azza wa Jal for us for forgiveness. And I used to play. They did this twice and thrice. The fourth time, I stopped not going to them. I stopped praying. He stopped praying. This Imam is saying, because I felt out of place. And this is what is known as peer pressure. And peer pressure is among the dangerous or the most dangerous things in life. Because you do this because you don't want to be standing out of the crowd. You want to blend in. And a sister takes off her hijab because she doesn't want to be a freak. She wants to be like everyone else. And the brother may compromise his religion, his Islam, may not pray, so that they say, oh, mashallah, he's sophisticated, he's cool, he's okay. But if he prays, what is this? He's a retard, he's backdated, he's from the Stone Ages. So you have to be careful on selecting your friends, because this affects your heart. Anas ibn Malik, may Allah be pleased with him. Who's the mother of Anas? Sulaim. Very good. Jazakallah khair. And you know Sulaim. A wise woman. A real wise woman. Her son is less than 10 years of age. When the Prophet came to Medina, alayhi salatu wasalam, a stranger, she doesn't know him, but she believes in Islam. So he is the messenger of Allah. She brings her son and she says, O Prophet of Allah, Anas, a young learned boy, take him. He will serve you without pay, and he will do whatever you want him to do. And who among us now can do this? Who among us can send his flesh and blood to such a noble cause? It's difficult. But what was the result? Look what happened to Anas. Subhanallah, 10 years accompanying the Prophet ﷺ. What knowledge he gained. What, if it weren't for the supplication, that would have been enough. Few years later, she said, "O Prophet of Allah, Anas, he is your servant. Pray for him." Well, the Prophet raised his hands and said, "O Allah, prolong his life and increase his wealth and make his offspring a lot and forgive his sins." Anas says, "Look at me now. I'm 100 years of age." He almost reached 100. And every farm in Medina produces once a year. My farms produce twice a year. And I have buried of my own offspring, children and grandchildren, over 100. Of his own children, he buried them and he overlived them. And I am hoping that Allah Azza wa Jal would answer the fourth one, which is, may Allah forgive him. Isn't this the wisest woman on earth who sends her child to such noble place? So this is the value of companionship. Anas ibn Malik, and I'll conclude with this inshallah, may Allah be pleased with him, said that we were with the Prophet ﷺ, and a man came and said, "O Prophet of Allah, when is the hour? When is the day of judgment?" Who doesn't want to know when is the day of judgment here? Raise your hands. Do you know? Okay, one. Okay, Jazakallah khair. Do you all want to know when the day of judgment is? Why do we care so much about it? People spend so much time. Akhi, when is the day of judgment? Akhi, this happened. Is it a sign of the approaching of day of judgment? Ya akhi, what do you care? Your day of judgment is when you die. This is your day of judgment. So don't care about this life. Don't care. Yeah, no, I'd like to know when is the Dajjal coming. Why, you gonna go and pick him up from the airport? Why do you want to know when the Dajjal? No, the Dajjal. Ya akhi, recite the beginning of Surah Al-Kahf and the end of Surah Al-Kahf, and alhamdulillah, you will not be trialed by his calamity or tribulation or his fitna by trial. So the Prophet said to that man, "What did you do for it? I can answer you. But better, I would give you another thing to think about." So if you're asking about the hour and you want to know the time, if I tell you next year, 10 years, 100 years, this would not benefit you. What would benefit you is this. What did you prepare for it? If someone comes and tells you, tomorrow is the day of judgment, what will you do? I have to watch the last series of Friends. It's the last episode in season. No, you'll start praying, you'll start giving the loans, you'll start the things that you have wronged people with, you'll ask for forgiveness because you know it's over. But no, it's not tomorrow. Oh, okay, Jazakallah khair. It's not tomorrow, I'll wait. Subhanallah. So the Prophet said, "What did you do in preparation?" And the man said, "Nothing." The man is truthful. He's talking to the Prophet. He said, "Nothing." What did we prepare for the day of judgment, akhi? Nothing. No, Sheikh, I prayed Sunnat al-Maghrib. MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair. And how many Fajr did you skip? Oh, don't count. So the man said, "Nothing. I did not prepare anything. Except, I love Allah and I love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam." That is it. And the Prophet said, "You will be with those who you love on the day of judgment." Anas says, by Allah, all of the companions were not happier by anything more than what they have heard. And Anas says, and by Allah, I love Allah Azza wa Jal, and I love the Prophet ﷺ, and I love Abu Bakr, and I love Umar, and I pray to Allah that He makes me with them, and I also pray that Allah makes us, all of us, me and you, with them on the day of judgment. Wallahu a'lam. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabiyyina Muhammad.